You think the Wild West is all cowboys, freedom, and endless sunsets over the prairie? Forget it. If you were born in the wrong place or the wrong skin, your life here is not a romance, but an endless layer of dust beneath someone else's boots. Here, you are invisible. Here, people walk right over you. Here, even death is slow to notice you exist. You are not a hero or a villain. You are not even really a person. You are just a boy with a box and a rag, scrubbing blood and dirt from the boots of those who get to live a real life. You know the taste of hunger, the smell of someone else's death, and the price of forgotten names. Welcome to reality, where your mark on the earth is nothing but a damp stain from old polish. But before we begin, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which city you're watching from and what time it is there. I love seeing who has joined us. Now, get comfortable. It's time to begin. You do not remember the exact day your childhood ended, not because it was long ago, or because it passed gently like a warm wind through tall prairie grass. It ended abruptly, like a falling axe. You were 8 years old, maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less. Numbers did not matter where you came from. The only number that counted was one. One meal a day, one pair of clothes, one mother who coughed too much, and one chance to survive. It came in the form of a scuffed wooden box, two half-dead brushes, a metal tin of black polish that smelled like ash and boot leather, and a folded rag that used to be a curtain in someone else's home. You became a shoe shiner because there was nothing else. No fields to till, they belonged to someone else. No school, you would not have been welcome, not with your muddy feet and patched sleeves. No family business. Your father had vanished westward with a bottle of cheap whiskey before you could even pronounce his name properly. So the box became your trade. You were told to kneel and smile. You learned early that neither came naturally to you. Mornings began with your breath fogging in the air, thick as the dust that never settled. You sat on the edge of the wooden sidewalk beneath the awning of a saloon you were not allowed to enter. It reeked of stale beer, piss, and broken promises. Cowboys stumbled out of it at dawn, smelling like sweat and perfume they could not afford. You waited for their boots to stop moving. You waited for them to glance down and see you. Sometimes they tossed you a coin before you even spoke. Sometimes they kicked you for speaking. Most times they ignored you, but the box was heavy and hunger was heavier, so you kept showing up. You learned how to offer your service without looking like you were begging, even though you were. Shine, mister. That was the line, said soft enough to sound humble, loud enough to be heard over gunshots, laughter, and the clatter of wagon wheels. There were rules no one wrote down, but everyone followed. Do not ask questions. Do not look people in the eye unless they speak to you first. Never touch the gun holster. Always keep the cloth moving, even if there is nothing left to shine. Learn to nod at the right moments, to laugh when the man on the chair tells a joke about scalping or hanging or war. Sometimes they called you boy. Sometimes they called you worse. Your knees turned into stone. The wooden planks beneath you were splintered, and by the end of your first month, your trousers had holes the size of silver dollars. You stuffed newspaper in your shoes to keep the soles from crumbling. Your hands were always black. No matter how hard you washed, the polish clung to your skin like guilt. It filled your nose and crept into your teeth. You began to dream of black paste and the wet sound of brushes. One afternoon, you were shining the boots of a man who did not speak. He simply sat, one boot extended, chewing a piece of jerky like he hated it. The boot was covered in dried blood. You did not ask. He stared off into the street, where a preacher was yelling about damnation and salvation. You scrubbed the boot, pretending not to notice the brown crust flaking off. When you were done, he flipped a coin into your box and walked away without a word. It was not the blood that bothered you. It was the way it had mixed with the dust, as if violence was just another layer of the land. You looked around. Two dogs were fighting over a bone in the alley. A woman slapped a child in the doorway of the tailor's shop. A man spat into the trough where the horses drank. The town was not built for dignity. It was built for profit, for pain, and for passing through. Sometimes you earned enough to eat. A crust of bread from the bakery, if you were fast enough to beat the orphans who lurked near the back door. A half-rotten apple from the market. Once, a real miracle, a piece of jerky left behind by a drunk soldier. You chewed it slow, letting the salt sting the cracks in your lips. That was a good day. On bad days, you simply watched the sun crawl across the sky and wondered if it would ever stop staring at you. At night, you slept behind the livery stable, wrapped in a tarp that smelled of horse piss and hay. Sometimes you heard gunshots. Once, you saw someone hanging from the water tower at dawn. His boots had fallen off. You remember thinking that someone should have shined them first. You did not have friends. Other boys saw you as competition. Adults saw you as background noise. You were too poor to steal from, too silent to punish. You did not even have a name most remembered. The boot boy, they called you. You began to call yourself that too. Names are for people who expect to be remembered. One day, an old man with white boots sat in your chair. He smelled like perfume and decay. You shine like you mean it, he said. You said nothing. That's good, he added. No one means anything anymore. He paid you 2 coins and walked away, limping. You never saw him again. By the time you reached 10, your hands looked like they belonged to someone twice your age. Calloused, scarred, and cracked. You stopped trying to wash the black off. It was not just polish anymore. It was who you were. A boy made of rags, spit, and wax. A child with no future, polishing the footsteps of men who had walked past theirs. You learned to look at boots and see everything else: the road taken, the weight of decisions, the filth of guilt. A shine was never just a shine, it was erasure. A boot cleaned was a boot made respectable, even if it had kicked in a door or a face just hours before. You never thought of quitting. There was nothing to quit to. You had a brush instead of bread, a box instead of a bed, and a town that used you as a smear between sunrise and closing time. And still, you showed up. There is no such thing as clean on the street where you kneel. Dirt creeps up your cuffs and stains your knees. Mud collects beneath your fingernails, and you stop caring. You notice, after a while, that your skin is changing, thickening, hardening, adapting to the work. The world above your head is a parade of boots and shoes, spurs and mud, cowhide and exhaustion. You live among the ankles. To everyone else, the air is merely dusty. To you, the air is made of dust, so fine it sneaks into your mouth and settles in your lungs until your cough sounds like sandpaper tearing through cotton. You work for coins, but mostly you work for permission to remain. Some men pay, some do not. Some, like the ones with the highest heels and the longest mustaches, look through you like you are just another crack in the wood. Others, with their hats pulled low and their boots scuffed bloody, are grateful for your silence. You learn to recognize the ones who want to talk and the ones who want nothing but to rest their foot on your box and forget that you are even there. The best time is morning, before the saloon is full and the boardwalks are thick with drunks. But even at dawn, trouble walks with heavy feet. You remember one morning when a man dropped his revolver while climbing onto the chair. He laughed and told you to watch where you put your hands. His laugh sounded like a dog choking on a bone. You nodded, though you felt a chill run through your arms. You did not ask questions. You kept your eyes on the boots. Most boots come caked with more than mud. You find dried blood often, sometimes thick enough to scrape off in flakes. Sometimes it is just a thin rust line along the seam, hidden in the crease. The first time you realized what it was, you almost gagged. After that, you stopped being surprised by anything. Blood is just another part of the world, like spit and tobacco and dust. You see all kinds of people. The cowboys with their spurs still wet from the morning dew, the men from the railroad, heavy boots cracking with tar and grease, the women in their high buttoned shoes, who sometimes toss you a penny just to watch you scramble for it. Even the undertaker stops by, his boots black as coal, always clean, but he pays you to shine them anyway. Some rituals must be kept, even among the dead. You work until your hands are numb. Sometimes, when the money is better, you shine boots all day without food, your stomach knotting itself until you feel sick. The days are long and hot, or long and cold. In either case, they are long. Your feet swell and blister. Your shoulders ache. Your eyes sting from the polish. When your knees split open and begin to bleed, you tear strips from your shirt to wrap them, or simply let the blood dry and flake away like the rest of the dirt. By now, you know the street like you know the faces of boots, the cracks in the wood, the stains left by spilled whiskey, the corners where the wind collects piles of dead leaves and scraps of paper. There is the corner by the blacksmith where the air is hot and smells of burned iron. There is the shade by the general store where you try to rest on the hottest afternoons. Sometimes you sneak to the back alley behind the barber shop where the smell of hair and shaving cream is almost sweet compared to the usual rot and dust. You learn to keep your head down and your mouth shut. You learn how to dodge a kick, how to move quick if a man loses his temper. You learn not to look up when men argue, not to flinch when someone shouts. The worst is when a group of drunks stumble past, daring each other to see how far they can kick your box. You lost your first box that way. It was smashed to pieces while you watched, helpless, hiding your face behind your hands. The next day, you built another one out of old crates and wire. Sometimes, a good day surprises you. A rich stranger tosses you a silver coin for a shine. A kind woman leaves you a slice of bread wrapped in a rag. A gambler, flush with winnings, pays you twice and asks if you have ever wanted to see the world beyond this town. You say nothing because dreams are for people who can afford to leave. You shine his shoes, nod, and let him go. Most days, the town forgets you exist. Children mock you, grown men ignore you, and women glance away as if your poverty might stain their dresses. But you remember everything. You remember the faces, the voices, the boots. You know who walks with a limp, who drags their feet, who smells of perfume and who of horses. You know which boots will never be clean again, no matter how hard you scrub. The calluses grow, layer upon layer, until you cannot feel the brush in your hand. Some nights you lie awake and stare at your palms, trying to remember what your skin looked like before it became more leather than flesh. You wonder if you will ever stop aching, if you will ever stop smelling like wax and sweat. Sometimes you wish for rain, real rain, not just the thin mist that sometimes settles at dawn. Rain would wash the streets clean, at least for a little while. Maybe it would wash you clean too. But rain is rare. Dust is everywhere. It seeps into your dreams, grinds into your teeth, fills your nose so that every breath feels like swallowing a handful of dirt. Once, a brawl broke out right beside you. Two men, faces red with rage and whiskey, threw punches and curses, stumbling over your box. You backed away, hoping not to be noticed. In the chaos, a boot caught your side and knocked you to the ground. You gasped, feeling pain shoot through your ribs, but you did not cry out. The fight ended as suddenly as it began. One man limped away, blood streaming from his nose. The other sat back down, as if nothing had happened, and told you to keep shining. You did. What else could you do? You get older and the world gets smaller. Your box grows heavier every year, though nothing changes inside it. Your knees hurt more. Your back aches longer. Your hope shrinks until it is the size of a matchstick, waiting to be snuffed out by the next hard boot. In the evenings, when the town finally grows quiet, you sit alone on the stoop and watch the light fade. You wonder what the boots you shine have seen, what places they have traveled, what lives they have trampled, what memories they carry in their seams. But you do not ask. The boots are not yours, and neither are the stories. You pick up your rag, wipe your hands on your trousers, and pack your box. Another day of dust, calluses, and blood has passed. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be better, though you know that is just another lie you have learned to polish, like a dull old boot, until it shines enough to last you through the night. You begin to see the cracks. They are not just in the streets or in the buildings or in the faces of the people who walk by. They are in the way the air feels, the way the light hits the corners, the way even the dust seems to have a purpose here. The town is like a person who's been beaten too many times, but keeps going, keeps surviving, because that's all it knows how to do. It is not a place built for human life. It is a place built for things. Things that need to be polished, things that need to be used, things that need to be tossed away when they no longer serve a purpose. You are one of those things. You shine the boots of men who carry with them all the sins of the world, but at the end of the day, it is you who is left covered in dirt, wearing the stain of their neglect. You have heard stories of other towns, places where people live differently, places where they don't just survive, but actually live. But the stories are all distant. They are as far from here as the stars. The only place you know is here. The only people you know are the ones who walk past you with boots full of their own regrets. The only life you know is this one, kneeling in the dust, scraping off the dirt that collects in the seams, wondering if anyone will ever see you as something more than an object to be used and forgotten. You don't talk to anyone. People don't talk to you. Some look at you, but their gaze passes right over you, as if you're invisible. Others look at you like you're less than human. The ones who pay are the ones who forget you. The ones who don't pay are the ones who curse you when you get too close. There is no middle ground. You're a shadow, a speck, a stain. The town is full of people who live in constant motion, never stopping, never pausing to think about anything but the next thing they have to do. There is the sheriff, always walking with his back straight, his boots polished as bright as a star, his gun belt tight around his waist. He doesn't speak to you. He doesn't need to. You are nothing to him. He is a man of the law, and you are just the boy who shines his boots, the boy who is barely worth a glance. Then there is the preacher, always standing in the middle of the street, shouting about salvation and damnation, as if he believes anyone is listening. You see him every Sunday, standing in the open square, arms raised to the sky, as he promises people that they can be saved. He talks about fire and brimstone, about redemption and sin. You've never heard a word that made any sense. You've never seen anyone truly change because of his words. You just see them nod, toss a coin, and move on, as if they are too busy to pay attention to anything more than the sound of their own voice. Then there are the women, the ones who walk with their heads held high, their boots polished to perfection, their skirts swishing in the wind. They come and go, never staying in one place for too long, their faces locked in that same expression, cold, hard, distant. They have no time for you. They don't see you. You are nothing but a shadow, a stain that can be ignored, scrubbed away, forgotten. And there are the men, the ones who do everything in their power to keep moving, to keep going, to keep surviving. They drink, they fight, they gamble, they curse, they love, they kill. They never stop, they never pause, they never see you, they don't need to. Their world is made of boots and whiskey and the next fight that will keep them going until the next morning. Your world is made of the dirt beneath your knees, the weight of your box, and the calluses on your hands. You wonder sometimes if you could leave. If you could just pick up your things, leave the box behind, and walk away. Maybe you could go to one of those other towns, the ones in the stories. Maybe there is a place where people live, a place where you aren't just a shadow in the dirt, where you aren't just a part of the background, where you could be something else, something real, but you know that isn't possible. You can't leave. You were born here, and you will die here, just like everyone else. You are a part of the town, a part of the machinery that keeps it running. Without you, there would be no shine on the boots, no polish on the spurs. Without you, the dust would have nowhere to settle. You think of leaving, but then you look around and see the truth. You are the town. You are the one who scrapes away the dirt. You are the one who keeps everything from falling apart, even though no one cares to see it. You are the one who keeps the boots clean, who keeps the filth at bay, even though it will never stay gone for long. You are the one who polishes everything, even when no one notices the shine. You watch the others come and go. They don't notice you. They never will. You are just the boy with the box, the one who kneels at their feet, scraping the dust away, polishing their boots, making them clean, making them whole, making them shine. But they don't see you. They don't see the work you do. They don't see the pain in your hands, the weight on your shoulders, the ache in your knees. They don't see you because they don't have to. The town is not made for people, it is made for things. Things that need to be used, things that need to be polished, things that need to be thrown away when they are no longer needed. You are just another thing, a thing that is useful as long as it shines. As long as you remain useful, you will stay. When you are no longer useful, you will be forgotten, and there is nothing you can do about it. You continue to shine the boots. You continue to scrape away the dust. You continue to kneel, even though you know it will never be enough. You know that no matter how hard you work, no matter how clean you make the boots, it will never change anything. The town will keep moving, and you will stay here, scraping and shining, until you are no longer needed. You are just another thing in the town, and the town was never made for people. There are things you get used to, living on your knees at the feet of strangers. Spit, mud, the sharp kick of a boot if you move too slow, hunger that curls inside your belly like a snake. You get used to feeling invisible, but there is one thing you do not get used to: the way death smells. It is a quiet morning when you notice something different. The sun is just creeping up, painting the wooden sidewalk in stripes of dirty gold. Your hands are already blackened with wax from yesterday, your knees throbbing, your eyes gritty from sleep. You have barely eaten, but your mind is sharp. Being hungry sharpens you. A man approaches, his boots dull and battered, spurs jingling with each uneven step. His hat is pulled low, his face hidden in the shade. You do not ask questions. You set your box down and gesture silently. He sits without a word, thrusting out his boot as if you are less than nothing. You see it, blood, half wiped, drying around the seam. You scrub harder. The smell rises, coppery and bitter, mixing with the thick, sweet scent of black polish. He does not flinch. You do not ask. You never ask. You have learned to recognize this kind of customer. He pays, sometimes with coins, sometimes with a stare that chills you to the bone. You do not look him in the eyes. You do not want to know what he has done. You have already cleaned away the evidence. By the time the boot leaves your box, the blood is gone, the leather shines. Only you remember. That day, you see more than usual. There are whispers on the street, voices pitched low, faces hidden behind hats and shawls. Someone was found in the alley behind the livery, they say. No one saw anything. The sheriff walks by, his boots shining, the ones you cleaned the day before. He does not meet your eyes. He never does. You want to think that it does not matter. You are just the boy with the box. But people are watching you now. You feel their eyes on your back as you work. You hear the laughter behind you, sharp, brittle, dangerous. Someone bumps into your box, sending it clattering across the boards. You scramble to pick up your rags and tins before anyone can steal them. You know better than to complain. You keep your head down, but you see everything. The boots stained red, the men who walk too fast, the woman who glances nervously over her shoulder. You see the way the undertaker's cart creaks past at dusk, its wheels sticky with something dark. You see the gamblers slip out the back of the saloon, faces pale and drawn. You see the way the preacher's voice falters as he talks about sin. You want to believe that if you do not speak, you will be safe. But the town is too small. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows that you saw something, even if you did not see anything at all. You hear your name whispered at night, low and harsh. You see faces at the window when you try to sleep in the alley. Once, you wake to find your box has been tipped over, polish smeared across the ground like an accusation. The brushes are gone, the rag is missing. You have nothing to work with, but you go back to the street anyway. You know better than to stop. You work in silence. You work with whatever you can find. You borrow a brush from the old shoemaker who grumbles and curses, but lets you take it because he remembers being hungry too. You make a new rag out of your shirt. The boots keep coming. The money is less, but you survive. The man who brought death to your box returns. He sits with his back to the wall, eyes hidden under his hat. This time, the blood is gone. This time, the boots are clean, but his hands shake as he hands you a coin. You take it without a word. You do not look at him. He does not look at you. When he leaves, you feel the weight of his guilt pressing on your shoulders. You are not a hero. You are not even a witness. You are a shadow, a stain, a rumor. But the town does not care about innocence. It cares only about secrets. And you, boy with the box, child of dust and spit, have seen too much. Someone knocks on the wall behind you as you work. You do not turn around. You keep shining. Later, you find a mark scratched into your box, a warning, a threat, or maybe just another message you are too tired to understand. You tell yourself it does not matter. You keep going. But at night, you are afraid. You sleep with your box clutched to your chest. You dream of boots stomping through your ribs, of hands dragging you out into the alley, of faces you cannot see. You wake up sweating, breathless, your heart pounding like a drum. There is no one there. There never is. One morning, you find your box splintered and burned behind the stable. The polish has melted into the dirt. The brushes are gone. Your last rag is nothing but ash. You stand there, staring at the ruin, and for a moment you think about walking away. But you do not. You pick up the largest piece of wood and carry it with you, as if it might still be useful. You are nothing but a boy with a job no one wants. You are not protected. You have no family, no friends, no allies. The sheriff does not care. The preacher only offers words. The men in the saloon would rather forget you exist. The women turn their heads. The children spit at your feet. The only things that ever cared about you are gone, stolen, burned, or broken. You keep going anyway, because you must. Because even in a town that was never made for people, someone must clean away the blood. Someone must make things look new, even when everyone knows they are not. When you kneel to work, you do not think about who you are cleaning for. You do not wonder where the stains came from. You simply scrub, polish, and shine, wiping away the world one boot at a time. You do not ask for much. You do not expect kindness. You have learned that the world gives nothing to boys like you. But sometimes, in the shine of a newly polished boot, you catch your own reflection, hollow-eyed, gaunt, tired. For a moment, you remember what it felt like to be invisible, and for a moment, you wish you could disappear again. But death does not forget. It lingers in the cracks between the boards, in the shadows under the saloon, in the sticky polish that stains your hands. You smell it every day: copper, sweat, dust, and wax. It is the only thing that truly belongs to you. It is the only thing that cannot be washed away. You sleep badly, you wake early, and you go back to the street again and again, because this is your place, because someone must make things shine, even if it is only for a little while. Because when death finally comes for you, you hope it will smell like polish and not blood. And so you work. You keep your head down. You survive. That is all there is. It is not age that wears you down. You are still young by any measure the town would care to remember, but you are old in every way that matters. Old in your bones, old in your mind, old in the places that ache even when you sit still. Years have passed, each one scraping a little more of you away like polish on a rag. The only proof you were ever young is buried under calluses and dust. You wake up with the sun, or sometimes before it. The light does not comfort you, it just means the long day has begun. Your knees creak as you get up from the alley floor. The rags you sleep in do not keep out the cold anymore. Your hands are stiff, fingers swollen, joints red and raw. Sometimes you cough and taste iron. Sometimes your breath rattles in your chest as if your lungs have filled up with the same dust you have been breathing your whole life. The street has not changed, though the faces sometimes do. Some boots you recognize, some are new, already scuffed and battered by the road before they find their way to you. The saloon is still there, still loud, still full of men who would rather forget what they did last night. The preacher still stands in the square, shouting at the sky. The sheriff's boots are still bright, as if their shine alone is proof of order in this place. You sit on the corner, your box patched and battered, your tools worn smooth from use. The work is slower now. Your hands cramp. Your vision blurs if you stand up too quickly, but you still come. It is what you do. It is what you are. A boy with a box, kneeling at the edge of things, polishing away the world. No one remembers your name if they ever knew it. They call you Boot Boy or the Shiner. Some call you nothing at all. You listen to their stories as you work, the arguments, the deals, the secrets. You know who cheats at cards, who owes money, who lies about where they go at night. You keep it all inside. No one asks for your opinion. You would not give it, even if they did. The money is never enough. The work is never done. Some days you eat, some days you do not. You drink water from the troughs, always hoping it will not make you sick. You sleep in the alleys, or behind the stable, or wherever the cold is a little less cruel. You wonder if anyone would notice if you disappeared. You decide they would not. One evening, a storm threatens. Dark clouds crawl over the rooftops, promising rain that never comes. The air is heavy, the wind thick with dust. You are cleaning the boots of a man you do not recognize. His voice is clipped, his hands restless, his eyes always moving. He pays you and leaves, his boots shining in the dying light. You sit for a while after he is gone, staring at your hands. They are black with polish, trembling with fatigue. You wonder how many boots you have cleaned, how much dirt you have scraped away, how many days you have watched fade into night. You do not remember a time before this. You do not know if there will ever be anything after. The town grows quiet, the saloon empties, the streets clear. The preacher's voice falls silent. You are left alone in the dusk, your box at your side. You watch the last light fade, the dust swirling in the empty street. For a moment, it almost looks beautiful, the way the sun catches on the boards, the way the shadows pool around the doorways, the way everything is silent, waiting. You think about leaving. You think about walking out of town, taking the old road west or east or anywhere else. But your feet are heavy, your knees ache, your hands throb. You know the truth. There is nowhere for you but here, in this town, with this box, on this corner. You are part of the place, just another thing to be used up and forgotten. You pick up your brush and polish one last pair of boots, a pair so old the leather has split, the soles worn thin. You work slowly, careful not to hurt your hands. The shine comes up, dull at first, then brighter, then almost beautiful. You finish and sit back, looking at your work. For a moment, you feel something like pride. For a moment, you remember what it was to hope. Your breath comes slow and shallow. The world grows dim around the edges. The pain in your chest is sharp now, like a nail driven through your ribs. You set down your brush. You rest your head against the side of your box. You listen to the wind, to the creak of the sign above the saloon, to the distant sound of a piano no one is playing anymore. You close your eyes. You think of rain, the real kind, heavy and clean, the kind that washes everything away. You imagine it falling, soaking into the dust, carrying away all the dirt, all the blood, all the polish, all the pain. You imagine the town quiet and clean, just for a moment. Someone walks by and does not see you. Someone else steps over your legs without looking down. The world keeps moving. The boots keep marching. The dust keeps rising. You are still. You are quiet. You are done. In the morning, the street will look the same. The saloon will open. The preacher will shout. The sheriff will stride past in his bright boots. Someone else will kneel where you knelt. A new boy with a new box, already learning how little the world will ever care. But tonight, for the first time, you do not have to shine anything. You do not have to scrub away the past. You do not have to carry the weight of other people's footsteps. Tonight, you rest. Tonight, you vanish as quietly and finally as a drop of polish rubbed into leather. And when the rain finally comes, long after anyone remembers your name, it will fall on the boards, the boots, the box, and the dust, washing everything clean for just a little while.